I don't please don't hate me online, don't be mad at me. I don't give a shit about the new Nintendo Switch.
Oh, wow.
I just don't care. And maybe it's because my Switch has been sitting in my, console, like my TV console.
Mhm.
I had to get it repaired, which I still haven't done because I have the OG original Switch,
Right.
and it has a really bad bleed that
Oh,
happens.
no.
I left it in the dock too long, and there's like a screen bleed, and it's like a known thing, whatever. I just have to get the screen replaced. Like it's no big deal.
Yeah.
But ever since that happened, I was like, I guess I'll just go back to my computer. And I've been playing on my computer and my PS4. Then I got a Stream Deck
Mhm.
and a Steam Deck, excuse me. And I just feel like I I've lost I've lost the passion for a new Switch console. I just don't need it in my life.
There's a lot to unpack there.
I know.
Yeah.
Are you gonna start with like my mental health? You're
No.
like, well,
Are you okay?
I'm fine.
Good enough. That's a good enough New York answer,
Are you
honestly.
okay? You see someone crying and you're
someone's
like,
I'm fine.
they're
It's like,
fine.
okay, they're good. They're good.
They're good. They're
fine.
talking.
Yeah,
They're
they
fine.
said they're fine. Not my problem. Okay, so first of all, the bleed, that's only on your screen itself for the
Yes,
Switch. So you can dock it and
if I dock it and it's on it, it's fine.
Yeah.
But the whole point of the Switch is to be a handheld gaming device.
See, that's where you and I differ because I almost exclusively play my Switch while docked.
What kind of controller are you?
Sounded very kinky,
What
but
kind of controller are you rocking with?
that's my problem actually.
I was gonna say.
That's my problem.
Yeah,
So
I knew it.
I used to live with my brother, and I was using his Nintendo Switch Pro controller,
Which is great.
which is great, which is awesome. But it's also like, I don't know, like
It's
$70.
expensive.
Yeah, which like, listen, I can get it if I really want to, but it's the principle. Anyway, I moved out of my living with my brother, so I've been back to my Joy-Cons, which have had the terrible, terrible drift. And I've had the option for, I'm not even kidding now, like 2.5 years to send it to Japan to get it
This
fixed.
is what I'm saying. Like,
And
I could get my screen fixed.
yeah.
You could get the Joy-Cons
And
fixed.
I just didn't do it because I was like, then I won't be able
Then I
to
won't
play
have
for
my
like 2
Switch.
months, and and I just got too lazy to do it. So instead, I just didn't get it fixed, which is my fault. And listen, I'm a Nintendo head, as you've called me before, which is true. Like I love Nintendo, and I love playing my Switch, and it's a great system. But my thing is, the Switch was never purchased for power. It was never like, oh, I got all these, it's a state-of-the-art next-gen console. It's a Nintendo console that also has a lot of great gimmicks and is portable. But like, you get the Switch so you can play Nintendo games, not so you can play the state-of-the-art modern video games.
Fair enough. Okay, but here's my point. What makes the Switch 2 so awesome that it's going to make even you, a person like me for sure, but even you be like, well, I have to drop.
Well, that's the thing. I don't. Like, I'm kind of on your side. Like, I'm saying the Switch still feels like it has longevity. It has a huge player base. I would prefer they kind of milk its life cycle a little longer and come out with some more premier titles for the Switch.
Agree.
I don't see the need to get this because I'm with you. There's nothing to me that I'm like, oh, wow, I'm looking at the rumored specs. It'll be as powerful as a PlayStation 4. As someone who still plays Super Mario Brothers 3 from 1988, I don't really care. Like, I want to play Nintendo games, and now I'm not going to shell out the $500 or whatever.
And I feel like it used to be, when a new console came out, the reason why you had to get the new console was for the games, because the cartridges changed, when they went to CD-ROM, like that was completely, you were like, okay, new console. But now we're in the death of physical media, RIP in peace. But like most people just stream the games. They just have them in the cloud.
Yeah.
They don't buy physical games. So like your Switch 2 games aren't going it, or the Switch 2 games are going to be the same games that are on the Switch.
Well, it's not so much they play through the cloud, but it's more they at least they download.
They download it. Right. They're not streaming through the cloud. They own the game, but they don't need a Switch 2 to play new games on like a physical. You know what I mean? So I guess. Who is this marketed toward, in your opinion, being a lover of Nintendo? Like, are these just diehard Nintendo fans?
I mean, it's just the way the industry is. Every 5, 6,
You
7
have
years,
to.
you have to have a new console upgrade, which the way computers and technology work, it is, very much exponential. And I get it. Like, technology's come a long way since the Switch launched in 2017.
Sure.
But I'm with you. I feel like it's with the Wii. I mean, the Wii was a crazy, crazy successful system, and then the Wii U came out, which was terribly marketed and its own thing with its own gimmicks. And I know the Switch 2 isn't trying to do that, but
yeah.
But my argument, the reason I haven't gotten a PS5 from my PS4, I've talked about this all the time, ruining my credibility on this show. You've agreed with me to some extent. It's like,
I also don't have a PS5, so
I struggle to see a huge difference in the PS4 and PS5. You know, and I know that there's bigger games and there's better performance. I see that when I'm not blind to it. But for me, I think of the time when we went from N64 to like GameCube, and I mean, you look at those games and it's just such a huge improvement, or NES to Super Nintendo, and we're not seeing those, and that's kind of the advantage that Switch 2 honestly has over PS5, over PS4. The dramatic upgrade from Switch to Switch 2, like there's room for that.
Fair.
But in my perfect world, you would have that plus something totally crazy that Nintendo's thought of that nobody has.
A Neuralink.
That's the thing. The people at Nintendo, I'm going full on like suck up fanboy mode, and I don't even mean this
Nintendo,
statement.
if you're watching.
Yeah. People at Nintendo are smart. Like, there's some smart, creative individuals.
Your suck up. You're like, you guys are smart.
Well, they are.
Prove me wrong.
You got to give them flowers. I'm not smart. I'm an idiot.
1,000%.
I can't think of a good improvement of the Switch that's some revolutionary, crazy ass like thing that no one's ever thought of, because I'm a dumbass. And people at Nintendo are smart.
Yeah. No, I agree.
People at Sony are smart too. Yeah.
And while we're at it, maybe Xbox. Yeah. I agree. I do think that there's a big room for improvement. I'm just curious. I would love to, as more information comes out, maybe I'll be swayed. Maybe I'll change my mind. I just think they also need to pair it with, a big release, like a new Smash Bros. Or something, go back to the old days where it's like exclusive release of this early access, whatever. You get the game and you get the console and you pay that extra money, but it's like you're the first.
Yeah.
Because I know that's what drives a lot of people to get an exclusive game pack, is when it's bundled with a console or like a release or something. So I don't know. They got to do some dope skins on the new Nintendo Switch. I'm thinking cosmetic now, but I know they'll make a better change than that. But I'm like, new Animal Crossing game and make it so cute.
And I'm not a big Animal Crossing guy, but I think that's really smart because Animal Crossing does gangbusters.
That's why I got the Switch when I first got it. Animal Crossing. So
100%. Oh man.
It could pull me back in.
That was a crazy couple of months.
It's a great
Tiger King.
You guys remember that?
The Last Dance.
It was a crazy couple of months.
Animal Crossing.
All our brains.
What else happened those months?
What was it called?
I don't know. Anyway,
it doesn't matter. My brain fog's kicking in.
And the thing is, Nintendo had that reputation for the longest time of launch title being system seller.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I say that, but they kind of did and they kind of didn't. Super Nintendo had Super Mario World. Nintendo 64 had Super Mario 64. Those were two of the greatest launch titles of all time, bar none. Oh, and Game Boy had Tetris, which, like, it's Tetris.
Forgot about that.
NES didn't launch with Super Mario Brothers originally. Eventually it did. It did get bundled with it and Duck Hunt, and that became, like, a huge, huge system seller. But originally it was packaged with Robot, and, like, all this other stuff. I think Duck Hunt was part. Anyway, it's the whole thing. And obviously they didn't in Japan, where Super Mario Brothers came out towards the end of the life cycle of the Famicom. But GameCube, the launch titles were Luigi's Mansion, which it's a Mario game, but
I thought it would have been Animal Crossing.
No, that came out the next year, I believe, 2002. Pikmin, I believe, was also a launch title.
At this point in time, with the released information, the specs, would you get a Switch 2?
At this moment, no, unless there was some crazy, like, cool launch title that was exclusive, or some feature of the Switch 2 that just blew my stupid little brain.
I guess we'll have to wait and see.
I do want to talk a little more about what you think would be some good launch titles for a Switch 2.
Okay. Well, what about another Smash Bros. Game then? If it's a new exclusive title, what about another Smash Bros. Game? I feel like that is the biggest IP that would pull people in, even more so than Animal Crossing. I mean, I would say Animal Crossing. That's just me. But
because Melee was like a month or two after the GameCube launched, it was pretty immediately after.
See, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So good argument. what would it, okay, so Ultimate, how do you top Ultimate? Because Ultimate was really kind of a fever dream. Fever dream? No, wrong word.
Kind of a fever
I don't
dream.
want to
Like, of all the
say, I
characters
don't
you'd
want to,
ever want together,
yeah,
like,
fantasy dream.
yeah. And there's still, I mean, that's the issue is like Ultimate, they're still adding
Yeah.
new characters, you know? Like,
I mean, yeah, I think I don't think they've added any recently,
no.
but
Well, then maybe in my dream world, a new Smash game would take a page from like Mario Party. And it would be, you could have, you know, like Melee, but you could also have, I don't know, like side scroller, like, you know, moving map type of thing, like almost like mini games, like mini battle games where it's still Smash.
yeah.
And you still have like your special move and like all the controls are the same, like everything's the same, but there has to either be additional characters. You've really got to pull in some new characters because they get stale and people want new mains. You have to keep the classics though. Don't get rid of them.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, like, I don't know if it's just new maps, but in my mind, like, I love mini games. Like, I love party games. And I feel like if Smash opened up its world a little bit more to, you know, you can have just PvP stuff and whatever and battle stuff, but then also like a pop the balloon.
Right. I agree. 100%. More mini games like the break the targets and the race to the finishes
together that you're still doing, and maybe it's like a break in the melee. Like,
right. No,
all
for
of a sudden it's like you got to do this other thing, and it's
100%.
you know.
And Smash Brothers always experiments with a different kind of campaign. They had Subspace Emissary and the World of Light, which I've played through both and I enjoyed them. They're not amazing.
It's not a campaign game. Like, it's, people don't go to it for the campaign.
I'm a classic mode guy, but adventure mode from Melee was great. So my argument, obviously Ultimate did all the characters. They're all here and all the past characters and all the past stages. So that's been done, and you need to keep all those characters. You can't get rid of anyone.
If you get rid of Toon Link, I swear to God,
I'll be mad. And you got to add a good handful extra. Get creative.
Sprinkle them in.
We're still waiting for you know, characters from
Master Chief.
Sure, why not? I mean, no, why not though? Really, let's expand.
At this point, why not?
Yeah, why not? But there's more. Gino.
Okay.
People are still calling for Gino.
Is Pikmin in Smash?
Yes.
Okay, I couldn't remember. Oh, they are. Okay, I was like, Adam, gotta add him.
For sure, for sure. But we could add more Pikmin characters.
More Pikmin.
100%. So characters, add some more creative stages. But I think the thing that would really kind of sell it would be kind of a historic retrospective, and Nintendo, they won't do it. They won't do this, but having an option to change the physics of Smash Brothers.
Oh.
Ultimate, true retrospective.
Make it harder.
Well, no, but say, hey, I want to feel like Melee, you know, which is the most popular to this day, I think, across, you know, the hardcore enthusiasts. I want this to feel like Melee, or I want the heavyweightedness of Brawl, or I want the clunkety clunk of Nintendo 64. I want to feel those polygons chugging. You also have an option to set like graphics too. All of these are like pixelated into N64, just disgusting models. There's some cool characters we haven't seen as N64 models, and they could be gnarly, and I want to see them. But then you can also move it up to like GameCube, like level, like Melee graphics, and you can so you can do like Melee physics, but it's like modern day Switch, or like Nintendo 64 models. But that's a pipe dream. That's the word I'm looking for.
Pipe dream.
It's never gonna happen, but I would love that for Smash Brothers. I think anyone who grew up with Smash Brothers, that would be the thing that would kind of like that bad bitch in there. Why'd I use that word? I don't know.
Well, I feel like if you're listening, Nintendo, just keep it in mind. You know, if this is what it's going to take for Marcus to buy the Switch 2, he might be onto something. I'm going to be nice. I'm not going to be a hater. I will keep the Switch 2 in my thoughts and prayers.
I appreciate that.